Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time joining, thank you so much for being here. My wish for you is to maybe receive some information that you will find helpful in this whole process of waking up. Because if you are here, consciously choosing to be here, then you are in a conscious choice, conscious choice, in a conscious process of the idea of waking up. And my job or function is to support you in that. Whatever information flows through me is intended to support you in your waking up process. Why is it important to wake up? Why would we want to wake up? It's actually quite simple. When you wake up, you remember who you are. And when you have a remembrance, embody remembrance of who you are, you begin to realize that you are part of Source, and Source and you are not separate. That's what it means to wake up. It also feels like you are being unconditionally loved and absolutely safe. So to wake up is to wake up to the realization that you are unconditionally loved. And despite what you are experiencing, at the end of the day, your soul is safe. In fact, this is what every human wants, to feel safe and to feel loved. And everything we do is in accordance to that, even if it means limiting ourselves. So today we're going to talk about the limitations that we put on ourselves that limit our ability to literally feel or be unconditionally loved and safe. It's a feeling. If you are new to this, if you are returning, thank you so much for being here. You know what I do. I just plug it into the field and information comes through me, sometimes with certain noise, and it is meant to go into your mental field and also your energetic field. So it affects you both cognitively and also on an energetic level. Sometimes I will say things your mind may not grasp, but your energetically is going to feel like something just settled. You can call it light codes, you can call it whatever it is. It's essentially an exchange of energy. So of course, my intention is always to exchange with you nothing other than the most beautiful, powerful healing energy. That's what I want for you. And because that's what I want for me. And when it flows for you, I get benefit of it. So yes, today we're going to talk about rewriting old soul contracts. And this idea actually came as a result of me having my own experience just a few days ago of having a really deep, ancient layer of what came to me was a vow that I made with myself or with the world. And it was actually a vow of chastity. I don't even use that word. So chastity has to do mostly with sexual stuff, but no, this was deeper. This was this ancient, old vow I made with myself that I was going to deny myself of all earthly pleasures because that meant I was virtuous and I was holy and I was pure. So to this day, unbeknownst to me, I carried this very old, ancient lineage type feeling or belief, contract, vow, that in order for me to be pure, to be virtuous, to be godlike, to be holy, I basically have to go without. Now, being a human, I can't go without because going without means I'm not going to be here anymore. So I have to take care of myself. But what happened up until just literally a few days ago, I realized is that, yes, I've been taking care of myself, but I have been limiting myself because of that vow. So for example, things like making sure like I don't appear like like I am abundant because of the work that I do, because there is this judgment that if you do healing work, you shouldn't charge, and in fact, you should be poor. So I have limited myself severely with finances for most of my life. And there's other layers to it. And I have also limited myself in allowing myself to feel good. I know it's weird. It's very weird when you think about it, but it's beyond thought. It was a layer of, I made this vow that to feel good is to give into your bodily or ego sensation. So to give that up is you don't feel good. I guess that was the understanding. But anyway, I realized that I have kept myself from feeling good in whatever capacity because it wasn't allowed. It was like it wasn't allowed. Like, think about it. That's just messed up, right? That's messed up. But that's what I became aware of. And it was so deep and so profound that I go, holy shit, this makes so much sense. In fact, a few months ago, I remember laying on the couch and just being kind of blissed out in a meditation, sort of meditation. And I remember I was feeling so good. And I spoke, I think it might have been out loud to the universe. I said, is it okay for me to feel this good? Like I was questioning if it was okay, if I was allowed to feel good. Like how messed up is that? And I had that realization. So when I said, is it okay for me to like almost feel guilty for feeling good? And I'll never forget this. The universe said, Joanna, that's the whole point. And when I heard that, I started to laugh because I thought, fucking ridiculous. But this is an example of some of the contracts we hold within ourselves that limit us without even knowing it. So today, we're going to talk about some of the old limiting contracts or vows that you have within yourself and you're abiding by, and they are severely limiting you. But because you're not conscious of it, you can't change it. So my hope and my desire for you is to be able to share with you something that make you go, oh, I've never really seen it before. The moment you see it is the moment where you have another choice because you see it, right? So my job as Joanna is not to tell you what is true. It's not to tell you what to believe. My job is to simply share with you something that helps you reveal you to yourself. In other words, don't believe a word I say. Please don't do that. Instead, listen to what's being said and feel it in your body and just notice what happens. Maybe something will be revealed to you. Maybe some word that is being said or some softly spoken word reaches you in a way that in just that exact right moment, something cracks and something opens up within you. And that's going to happen with each individual person in different ways. Also, this is what I'm being asked to say. I have no idea why. I think the universe is being funny. I'm just going to go with it. What I just heard was, don't undervalue or underestimate this information only because of the package it arrives in. I think what the universe is saying is, don't judge what you hear from me based on what you see about me. Does that make sense? Because I'm not thinking that you're judging me. I'm sure some of you will, but I don't really, I'm past that point. I used to care a lot, but it's like, if I care too much, how are you going to judge me? I'm not going to be able to do what I'm here to do, which is to help you remember who you are. And if you judge me for it, that's okay. So I don't take it personally. It's okay. I've been there. So let's talk about these old contracts. First of all, where are they? And by the way, most humans have it, especially unconsciously. And these are basically invisible agreements or contracts or vows that we made either with ourselves, with others, or with life itself. And these contracts are basically, they're agreements we've made with ourselves, and they're rarely conscious. And a lot of these agreements we have with ourselves are limited agreements, which means they limit our expression. Okay. Example. I'll never let myself love again because it hurts too much. So you have had an experience where you opened yourself up to somebody, you gave them your love, your vulnerability, and they hurt you. Maybe they didn't even mean to hurt you, but just listen, when feelings are involved, people get hurt because there's emotion, right? So let's say you got hurt and something inside you said, oh, no, never fucking again am I going to put myself in that position. Thank you very much, but no thank you. That's a vow. Meanwhile, you're still trying to find that relationship that is going to help you feel loved and accepted. But you're equating love and acceptance with hurt. So even though you want that, you're keeping yourself from it. Because the last time you loved, you got hurt and you don't want to do it again. So you are protecting yourself from it. In other words, doors closed. How many times do we do that? Every single day. Oh, I'm not going to do this because it won't matter. I'm not going to. I mean, we say shit to ourselves every day, so many times, and it's so unconscious. We're just running our little worlds inside of our minds, and most of the time we don't even know it. But remember, our inner world expresses itself on the outer world. So we'll talk about how these contracts can be made visible so that you can actually see, oh man, I might have an old vow or a contract that's limiting me. I don't want to do that anymore. But you first have to become aware of it, okay? There's another example. If I have more than enough, I am selfish or unsafe. And I had to think about that comment because I thought, well, what is that unsafety? Like, I don't get it. And then I tuned into it. And what I felt was, let's say somebody has a vow of, I'm going to have just enough because if I have enough, it means something bad for me. Maybe it means if I have more than enough, all of a sudden now I have to become responsible for everybody else. And that's too much responsibility. I don't want it. What if it's unsafe for me because if I have abundance, then I may potentially be a target for deceit, for whatever. In other words, we all have these stories, and these stories limit our experiences. But unless we become aware of these stories, we cannot have or expect a different experience because it is the constant living out our story is what gives us an experience. So in order for us to have a different expression, a different experience, we have to create a different dynamic within ourselves. In other words, we have to release the old contracts and maybe put new contracts in its place. And actually, this is exactly what I wish you guys do. So why do we create these contracts? It's usually protection. We try to protect ourselves from something. If you think about it, whenever you have a contract, it's generally because you're trying to protect yourself. There's some parameters you're trying to protect yourself from something, right? Some of these contracts are inherited. You heard a certain story, for example, money is bad, not because you experienced money being bad necessarily, but because it was the story that you were told. You didn't question it and you just adopted it. And your vow was, I will stay away from money because money is bad. I don't want to be a bad person. Now that's you limiting yourself from creating financial abundance for you because financial abundance often equals money. Money to your unconscious psyche means bad. You're not going to want to create bad in your life. Who wants that? You see what I'm saying? It's the associations we make with things. But here's the problem. and I've said this before, unless these contracts, limiting contracts, are brought to light, we will continue limiting ourselves over and over and over and over and over again. And we will begin to think that's all there is. That's all there is. No, there is a lot more. You just have to let go of the old contract. So how do you identify that you have a contract that's limiting you? That's a great question, by the way, because it's one I would ask, and it's the one I did ask. Well, for one, these things for me came up naturally. Like they just kind of bubbled up to the surface. So if you're listening to this energy, then chances are quite high that at some point you are going to experience these belief systems bubbling up to the surface, and they're going to feel very big. They won't just be products of your thoughts. They will be coming almost like from inside of your body. And whenever they come up, they almost feel existential. It's very difficult for me to put it into words because it's energetic, it's pre-verbal. In other words, it's not just a thought you have, it just comes through you, thank you, as an energetic wave. So in that case, basically what's happening is you are ready to release whatever is coming up for you. For me, it was the old vow of chastity from eons ago, and that spilled onto other areas of life. And a vow around over-responsibility just came up for me spontaneously, and I realized that all of my life, I have felt responsible for other people's pain. I didn't, and when it came up for me, I was kind of shocked. I don't even know why I was shocked, but I was so shocked because it was so big, but it almost instantly made me go, oh my God, everything makes so much more sense. Because when I was growing up, I was communicated to many, many, many times, pretty much all the time, that whatever a person was feeling and it was bad, that it was my fault. So I've learned that when a person feels unhappy or angry or upset or whatever it is, that it's my fault and now I have to fix it. Which explains so much, my God. But that's a huge responsibility. I didn't even realize that's what I had. I mean, I kind of did, but this was different. So what I'm saying is, one of the ways that you are going to become aware of it, it's going to come up for you. It's just spontaneously going to come up for you, okay? If you're not in that category, then you can ask yourself some questions. For example, you can ask a question like, where in my life do I feel consistently stuck, limited, or anxious, no matter what I do? Okay. And in what part of your life right now are you resisting the most? Wherein is there a resistance? Because the resistance often denotes something happening, something taking place. Now, resistance doesn't mean it's anything bad necessarily, but resistance means there's something taking place. Okay. Oftentimes, resistance is also a sign of growth. Why would we resist growth? Think of it this way. Ego is structured to depend on predictability, okay? When there is too much change all at once, it becomes very nervous because it doesn't feel safe, right? So predictability helps us feel safer, at least, right? So when too much change happens all at once, the ego freaks out. When the ego freaks out, it often shows up with certain story, okay? Notice what story is your ego freaking out about. For example, oh my God, I'm never going to have enough money. I'm never going to have enough money. I'm never going to have enough money. If you have that kind of dialogue running in the back of your mind, or you have struggled with financial success or abundance for most of your life, then the very high likelihood is that you have a limited limited perception of money and how money affects you. Okay. Perhaps you grew up in an environment where money was told to you that it was bad, as I've mentioned in the beginning. Okay. So you've made this vow, okay, money equals bad. I am never going to attract money to myself because I don't want to be a bad person. Boom. Okay. So anything that you are now conflicted with, notice what story it comes with, because the story will very often help and expose the belief system. Okay? For example, if you are being let go from a job, your natural tendency, well, there's nothing natural about it, but your natural tendency will be, I'll never get a job, or I'm not never going to get another job, or I'm never going to get a better job, or I'm not going to, whatever it is, it exposes your belief system. And ego is designed to protect itself from death. So we all know that ego always strives to make sure it's always safe, right? It's all protection, it's all survival. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is that when we continually live out of survival, because when we continually live out of survival, we're living in pain, because to be in survival mode is kind of painful, not physically, but emotionally painful. It's not sustainable because you cannot live in survival mode 24/7. Your body's not designed that. Your body's going to break down. And it just is. It's not designed to be under that level of stress 24/7. And number two. And number three, unless you bring some light into the conversation that you're having in your mind, you're going to continue to having these conversations, which are going to make you feel like your thoughts are running the show rather than you running the show. And when I say your thoughts, it means your ego running the show. Okay. Ego is based in scarcity. So if you are being let go of a job, for example, or if you're dealing with some sort of a job situation where you are unsure if your job is going to be there or not, there might very likely be some limited beliefs around the job coming up for you, or safety and security. Okay. And no, it's not enough to just believe that you're going to be fine. You still have to go about and, put in some effort, right? So just believing you're going to be fine you have to put some effort in it. On the other hand, to automatically thinking that something is going to be bad, that you're going to be worse off, that's bracing yourself, right? Because who wants to be worse off? Point I'm trying to make is this: whatever is going on in your life that you're in a bit of resistance to, just notice the underlying story of that, because that's going to expose to you some pretty interesting material. It's going to show you your belief systems, your limiting belief systems. And from that space, you can recognize that, yes, I have a limiting belief system. Where does it tie to? Where does it come from? Is it even mine? And just by having the realization that you have a limited belief system and it's coming to you in your consciousness, you're going to become much more consciously mindful of the choices that you're making. You're going to become more conscious of the choices that you are making. You will no longer be as ruled by your survival. Okay? So, any recurring stories you tell yourself about things, any beliefs you have inherited from your family about money, love, safety, whatever it is, notice what's coming up for you right now. And here's why it's important that we do this now. We are apparently, according to the field, in an energy of tremendous shift and change. I believe that. Okay, it's a very it's a higher vibrating frequency, the way it's being shown to me, the way I can explain it to you. And this higher frequency puts everything into faster motion. So we are experiencing things very fast right now, because it's like everything has been exponentially sped up. Now, I experience this with time. Time these days, like the days we just had Monday. What do you mean it's Saturday? It's crazy. And it's not just me, because people tell me that all the time. So we are in this sped up frequency. Also, because of this sped up frequency, anything that is denser in vibration will have a tendency to come up to the surface. So a lot of fears right now a lot of limitations, a lot of scarcity type belief systems are likely going to come up to the surface right now. They're being triggered. Okay. And that's because this higher frequency brings up density in order for that density to be moved through and released. Because the more we hold on to density, the lower we vibrate, and we are moving to a higher vibrational field. Okay. Also, as we move to a higher vibrational field, there's going to be natural resistance. Resistance, it's not bad. It's okay, but sometimes we resist things for wrong reasons. Okay. For example, let's not pretend that change is not happening. Change is happening each and every day. Change is the one constant, as they say. Change happens all the time. What's happening right now is a lot of change all at once, and a lot of fury with this change, and a lot of just instability. Instability, right? When things change, what is required is some flexibility. So the universe is asking us to become a little bit more flexible as we are moving through this change. Why? Because if we're too rigid, think of it as an analogy. If you're too rigid, you're going to break. You need some flexibility. Rigidity is generally born out of fear. Okay. The more we are rigid, the more we are overly structured and over-controlled, is because there is some underlying fearful component that tells us we need to do this to stay safe, loved, whatever it is. And that's a very low vibration. It's got nothing to do with being good or bad. It's a very low vibration. So the more we hold on to fear or fear-based belief systems, limiting belief systems, the less we hold on to them, the less rigid we become. The less rigid we become, the more flexible we become. And when we are flexible, the process of change is easier because it's easier because we're being flexible. Okay. So we are being asked to become a lot more flexible. Again, to be flexible, we have to let go of controlling so much. So notice what is in your life that you are trying to control right now. What are you trying to control right now? Don't name it as good or bad. Don't judge it. Don't deny it. Just see it. Where in my life am I trying to control something? I'll share mine with you. I know better, but what I'm trying to control, my ego is trying to control. It's trying to control how I'm going to be showing up for clients moving forward, because there is a massive shift that's happening inside of me, and I'm in the middle of this flux, if you will, and my ego doesn't know what to do with it because it knows what it knows, but it doesn't know what it doesn't know, so you can't relax. Okay? Now, I know better as the person beyond the ego because I've gone through this before. But the ego doesn't like change. And how I'm showing up and how the universe is flowing through me and how it's expressed, it's completely changing from my perspective, it may not be different looking to you, but from how it's coming through me, it's completely changed over the last 5 or 6 months. And with that, a lot of things came up to the surface. So why am I even saying this? Flexibility is important, that we become flexible because we are going through a lot of change. And the more we are fear-based, the more we are holding on to limited contracts, the less flexible we will become. The less flexible we will become, the more we will experience resistance. Resistance, it's not bad, but resistance for the sake of just resisting change, not very helpful because change is taking place. So with me, as an example, I have to constantly remind myself, Joanna, this is a process. You've gone through this before. When you're in the thick of it, you just want to get out because you are so freaking uncomfortable. It is exhausting. because, and I'm a Taurus, so for those of you who know astrology, I don't know very little. Apparently Tauruses don't like change, so I'm a full-on Taurus. Um, so what I'm saying here is the reason why this is all coming up right now and why we're talking about this information right now is because this is a profound time for making changes to our ideas, to our beliefs, and to our internal systems because we are in a time of change. So it's easier to implement new practices, new ideas, new beliefs, and it's easier to let go of old limiting beliefs and so forth and so on. Is it easy? No. Letting go is never easy. Letting go is not easy. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard because it means something to you. Whatever you're letting go of means something to you. And if you've been holding on to something, it's meaningful to you. So we are being asked to let go of something that was once meaningful to us, but now it limits us. And the way we see ourselves and the way we think of ourselves and the way in what we believe in about ourselves either allows us to be fully expressed or limited. If you're watching this, you're limiting yourself. So am I. It's a human thing. It's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with it. The question is, when you realize, when you become conscious of how you hold yourself back, you can consciously choose to not hold yourself back any longer. In other words, you get the key to the prison that you're in. You unlock the door and you walk away to your freedom. And of course, that's a metaphor. That's why it's so important for all of us to be more conscious. The less conscious we are, the more we are living in the illusion, and we believe that this illusion is real. It's real, but this is not all there is. And if you're listening to these kind of podcasts, you probably already know that you exist beyond this physical body. Otherwise, this energy wouldn't even resonate with you. Okay. And by the way, please do not believe what I say. Feel it with your body. What I speak to you is what wants to move through me, and it's going into your energy body, and your energy body knows exactly what to do with it. I'm not doing anything. So, what sort of things do you think about yourself that hold you back? I'll never amount to anything, which was mine. I heard most of my life growing up that I would never amount to anything, so I believed it. Held myself back. Makes perfect sense, right? I'll never have enough money, or I'll never be truly loved, or I'll never get somebody I really deserve, or I never. Just because it happened once doesn't mean it has to happen again. But if you continue to believing that what has happened must happen again, and therefore you protect yourself from it, what you are doing is you are expecting. You're expecting the very thing you're afraid of. You're expecting the very thing that you're afraid of. Yeah? Most people, in my experience, whatever they wish for, they generally are afraid of it, or don't believe they can have it, or they are somehow holding themselves back. Generally speaking, I've seen it with myself and with my clients. The weirdest thing, the very thing that we want, we're generally the ones holding ourselves back from it, or are afraid of it, right? So what sort of things are you afraid of not happening? And because you believe they're not going to happen, you're not even going to try. Oh, I'll never be successful, so I'm not going to even bother putting myself out there. Oh yeah? Who told you that? Well, I tell myself that. Why would you do something so stupid? Unless your desire is to not be successful, and you're living your desire, that's perfectly okay. If that's your aim, I want to be not successful. Boom, there it is. You got it. Perfect. Beautiful. But I suspect you would like to have success, whatever that means to you. Love, money, compassion, whatever. Who doesn't want to feel successful? But if you believe you're never going to be successful because someone told you so, and you believe them, and now you're telling yourself, I would say to you, you might want to rethink that one. In fact, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is going to blow your mind. I want to show you how fucking successful you are at what you do. You have co-created this entire experience, whatever it is, even the one that you have struggled with. You hear this. You have created it. That's how successful you are. The only thing is that you are creating it unconsciously. And because you were creating it unconsciously, you were creating from your limitation. I am not saying that you are hurt because you deserve to be hurt. That's not what this is about. All I'm saying is from a bigger perspective. You are so freaking powerful. You're such a huge success that you have co-created this experience successfully based on your beliefs. That's success. That's your proof. You look at your beliefs and you look at your corresponding experience, and what you're doing is your belief has created your experience. How do you not see it as success? That's success. You believe something and then you experience it. That's success. You just believe in the wrong things. I'm going to rephrase. It's not that you believe in the wrong things. You believe in the things that don't give you what you want. So what are some of those things for you? And I think that's all I have for you. We can also talk about rewriting contracts. Maybe I'll talk about that in a different video. But look at your contracts and imagine yourself tearing up the old contract. Whatever the contract is, what it's about, however limiting it is, see it as a contract, and in your mind, just tear it up and create a new contract. Literally create a new contract. By acknowledging first that you have a contract right now, whether it's with yourself, with the universe, with other people, with whatever, with God. Realize you have a contract, and then ask yourself, is this still serving me? Is this contract still giving me what I want? If not, tear it up, write in your contract. And always remember, if it's your contract, then it better be true to you. If it's your contract, then it better be true to you. So if you're going to write yourself a contract, make sure it's based on what you want. Which means be radically honest with yourself. Choose you. Choose you. It's okay to choose you. It's not being selfish. By choosing you, you help others choose themselves. Not that they need permission. Sometimes they don't know how to choose themselves. Choose you. You know why it's important? Because when you choose you, you're at your best. When you're at your best, you emit a frequency that affects everything and everyone around you. So when you choose you and you're at your best, not only do you benefit, everyone benefits, including animals and plants, because you emit a frequency. So, from this point forward, don't choose your limitations to run your life for you. Choose you. And you, my love, are not your limitation. Beyond your limitation, there is you. Your limitation is not you. It will never be you. However, if you choose to define yourself as your limitation, you will create that experience all by your lonesome because you're that powerful. So if you would like me to share with you a copy of a generic contract that you can make specific to yourself, just drop me an email, info@joannathehealer.com. In a subject line, put new contract, and I'll send you a contract that you can write to your specific needs. And that's what I wish for you. So until then, please comment. Let me know how you like this transmission, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.